Good evening. This is Scape News, and tonight we're bringing a clear, factual update on the crash involving a Cessna Citation affiliated with NASCAR champion Greg Biffle. 7 lives were lost, and the aviation and motorsports communities are still processing the magnitude of this tragedy.
Again, before I go any farther, on behalf of the NTSB, again, I want to extend our most sincere condolences to the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives in this terrible tragedy.
Our goal here is simple: cut through the noise, present only what's confirmed, and outline what investigators are actually looking at.
I do want to clarify a couple things that we said yesterday. First, I want to clarify that the accident aircraft departed from runway 10 at Statesville Regional Airport and attempted to land on runway 28 after approximately being airborne for 10 minutes. We do not know the circumstances which led the aircraft, which was a Part 91 general aviation flight, to attempt to return to the airport, but that is the focus of our investigation.
The aircraft was a Cessna Citation II, Cessna 550, tail number N257BW, manufactured in 1981. Twin-engine jet, Pratt and Whitney JD15D1 engines. Requires 2 pilots under normal operations. Owned by GB Aviation, affiliated with Greg Biffle. Contrary to early social media claims, the aircraft had been flying regularly in recent months. The flight departed Statesville Regional Airport at 10:05 a.m., bound for Sarasota, Florida, under an IFR flight plan filed for FL320. Weather at departure was marginal VFR, with a broken ceiling around 1,200-foot AGL, light rain, and an approaching line of weather from the west-southwest.
I also want to clarify a question I received yesterday about a potential text from a passenger on board the aircraft. This morning, I can confirm that the NTSB is aware of one brief text from a passenger on board the aircraft to a family member that read, and I quote, "emergency landing." Again, that's emergency landing.
The text message discrepancy. This has been a major point of confusion. TMZ and other outlets reported a text reading. "We're in trouble." The NTSB, in its first briefing, said they were not aware of any text. In the second briefing, they clarified a passenger did send a message, but it read, "emergency landing." This is a materially different statement, and the NTSB emphasized that distinction. Radar data shows the aircraft departed VFR, squawking 1200, with the intention of picking up its IFR clearance in the air, a standard procedure at non-towered airports. At approximately 2,000 feet, something went wrong. There are conflicting altitude readings from different ADSB sources. One shows a climb to 3,600 feet MSL. Another shows a peak around 2,500 feet. This discrepancy is now a key point for NTSB analysis. What is confirmed? The aircraft stopped climbing, initiated a tight turn back toward runway 28, and did not maintain altitude. A steep bank combined with full flaps on one engine would have made level flight nearly impossible. The aircraft struck a runway light stanchion, clipped trees, breached a perimeter fence, and came to rest near the runway threshold, engulfed in flames. The entire flight lasted 10 minutes.
We are still gathering information related to the pilots on board the aircraft, and I do not have any additional information to relay on who was in the left seat at this time.
7 people were on board: Greg Biffle, Christina Biffle, Emma Biffle, Ryder Biffle, Craig Wadsworth, Dennis Dutton, Jack Dutton. Among them were 3 pilots. Dennis Dutton held an ADP and a citation type rating with SIC requirement. Jack Dutton held a private pilot certificate with instrument rating. Greg Biffle held private multi-engine and rotorcraft ratings, but not instrument. The NTSB has not yet confirmed who was flying the aircraft.
We do anticipate that more information on all the pilot-rated occupants will be included in our preliminary report. I can also confirm this morning that we have taken down several witness statements. Early indications from multiple sources indicate that the airplane was stable on approach, configured for landing with the landing lights on, but the aircraft was coming in low. That information is consistent with the debris field our team continues to survey and consistent with with the first points of impact on the airport runway lighting stanchion, located approximately 1,800 feet from the runway threshold. Yesterday, our systems group documented the accident debris field, aircraft wreckage positioning, component locations, and the flight controls. Additionally, I mentioned yesterday the team recovered the cockpit voice recorder, which is now at our headquarters in Washington, D.C. Our team today is attempting to extract that information. And I will note again that this aircraft was not required to have a CVR because it was under a Part 91 flight, but it did.
A 16-member NTSB team is now on site, led by investigator Dan Baker. They are examining aircraft history, maintenance records, pilot qualifications, instrument and control systems, weather environment, radar and avionics data. The aircraft did not have a flight data recorder, but it did have a cockpit voice recorder, which has already been transported to Washington, D.C. for analysis. The Garmin 750 on board is expected to provide limited flight data. The NTSB is also requesting photos, videos, security footage, eyewitness accounts, anything that can help reconstruct the final moments.
The team also recovered additional avionics equipment, one being the ground proximity warning system, a Garmin G750 display, which is also known as a multifunction display, and various cockpit instruments. We also have retained for examination the caution and warning panel from the instrument panel. Our operations group conducted witness and maintenance personnel interviews yesterday and viewed additional accident and security videos yesterday. I can say, as of just a few minutes ago, we do have the maintenance logs for the aircraft in our possession now. They will also try to determine the weight and balance of the aircraft and verify the aircraft loading. And again, I would like to ask anybody who may have additional photos, videos, any kind of documentation, or maybe have witnessed the accident, if you would reach out to us via email at witness@ntsb.gov. Again, that's witness@ntsb.gov.
Closing perspective. We still do not know what triggered the emergency. We do not know the exact cockpit decision-making. And we do not know why the crew chose to return to Statesville instead of diverting to Charlotte. What we do know is this. The NTSB will release a preliminary report in the coming weeks, and a full investigation may take 12 to 24 months. Tonight, our thoughts remain with the families and communities grieving this loss. If you'd like to hear the latest reporter questions from the last NTSB, continue watching. This is Scape News, forensic, factual, the world behind the world.
Glenn Counts with WSOC in Charlotte. Outside of the aircraft being low, have you talked to any witnesses or have you seen any video that would indicate that the aircraft was in any kind of distress coming in?
Okay, the question is, do we have, from the witnesses and any video to verify what the witnesses said about the aircraft being low or any indications that something may have been wrong with the aircraft? At this point, we have seen some of the videos. We have talked to various witnesses, some of them that are pilots and things like that. We don't have any information to determine if there's something, what emergency might be going on in the aircraft. It did look like the aircraft was configured appropriately for landing, but it was low in the videos also. But we have no other indications of what might have been going on at this time.
Joe Maruzak, Charlotte Observer. I just thought if I could ask two questions quick. How low was it? And then also, who was the family member and who did they text?
Okay. First, let me go with the first question. How low was the aircraft? Well, the aircraft was lower than a normal glide slope for the airport, and the fact that it contacted the approach lighting stanchion it tells you that it was basically level or below the runway level at that point, because the runway is up on a hill a little bit. But that's part of where we'll determine exactly where it is. The other question was who was the family member that provided us with the text? We're not going to share that at this time. We need to be mindful of what the family's going through right now, and we appreciate them sharing that to us at this point.
Joe Bianchi, The Athletic. Is it unusual? What is the challenge in trying to figure out who the pilot was in this case and who was sitting in that left seat?
The question is, what is the challenge of determining who the pilot was and who was sitting in that left seat? At this point, we have a lot of really good information, and we're fairly confident with at least the left seat occupant, but we need to verify that, right? We need to be accurate in what we do. And we also, from a survival factors point of view, which is part of what we investigate, we want to know where everybody was sitting. And that's a little more difficult in a crash like this.
Thank you.
You had a question here.
Yes, Peter Scott at TSA Sports. Is it abnormal for there to be a tree line that close to the runway's start?
Okay. The question is it abnormal to have a tree line that close to the runway? I did briefly talk about this yesterday. The airport does sit up on top of the hill, and the approach lighting is either level with the runway or sometimes it's above, but it looks pretty level with the runway elevation. It may even dip down a little bit, and there's some trees down in between some of these. So the aircraft was well below the runway surface when it crashed. One more over here.
Given the weather conditions at the time, did those conditions make it so that the ground proximity warning device was going to be especially critical in a situation like this?
Oh, so the question is whether the weather was significant enough to have to rely on the ground proximity warning system. At this point, I don't have any information on that. We have looked at some of the weathers, the video, and the reported weather out of the weather reporting station was 1,200 broken, 5 statute mile visibility, which is visual flight rules. So yeah, it did have some heavy drizzle out there. That's part of what we'll investigate at this point. But I have no further comment on that as far as how it relates to the accident. Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome to the Inner Circle. This isn't just a membership, it's a mission. You're supporting forensic truth, mythic blends, and ceremonial broadcasts that honor every moment. Members unlock exclusive enhancements, behind-the-scenes alerts, and direct access to the pulse of Timescape news and leading sponsor, Gold Rush Fever Specialty Coffee. Join us and help shape the signal. We thank you, and as always, stay safe. That's the latest from Timescape News. We're live, we're watching, we thank you. Subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell so you don't miss what breaks next. Stay with us, we appreciate you, and as always, be safe.